if you meet with somebody and you just know you don't like them or they don't like
Then
you,
don't.
like don't work with
Don't
them.
work with them.
I
No
think that-
jerks.
All right, welcome. My name is Nate Moncrief, and I'm joined by my co-host Nir Berkovich. And welcome. This is the Builder's Blueprint podcast. Today, we've got a fun topic for everybody. We're going to be talking about nightmare clients, nightmare situations, how to see them coming before it happens, how to look at little things that could be red flags, and adjust and prepare. Because this is a long process. It's a fun process, but sometimes can get rough. So we're going to talk about what to look for, what are these nightmare situations, and how you can protect yourself as a builder, as a contractor, as a drywaller, whatever it happens to be, and be prepared.
Right on.
Yeah. So I guess we should start with what is a nightmare client. I guess we'll start with Nir. Nir, what are you thinking?
I mean, a nightmare client for me is that client is they just don't get it from a lot of different angles. It's just, I think the first thing is communication. When you're trying to keep some personal space and no one respects it, then we hit some problems. Or a nightmare client can be a client that you're emailing once or twice around the design or on the budget, and it's just not coming in. They're just not getting it, and then they are surprised. Another version of a nightmare client will be the ones that are tracking you in a way. They're going to a remodel knowing that they're gonna be as nice as possible early on. Then later on they will sue you. That's another option of a nightmare client. Or a nightmare client can be a client that the expectations, as much as you are trying to communicate you're trying to align expectations, are not getting aligned after you start.
Yeah.
So they expect you to be there every single minute, or they're expecting unrealistic timelines or unrealistic performance. I think that's like, in a nutshell, what's a nightmare client is for me.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a couple different types of nightmare
Right.
clients, it sounds like. And some of them it's non-intentional. Some of it's just like their personality, how they are, and it starts off you're like, okay, I understand it. But I think it's because of the lack of their experience doing construction specifically. Because if you've ever been on site to a construction site, when it's under construction, it's not pretty. There's a lot going on. You can clean it the best you can. But you're gonna see the things that are wrong with the walls, the things that are installed slightly off that need to get adjusted. And a lot of times I don't think people realize that.
Yeah.
And they look at it when it's still in the rough phase and say, these guys are terrible. What is going on? This is a disaster. Not realizing that, yes, we know.
Yeah.
That's why you hired us to fix these things, adjust and make it correct.
It's almost like you're looking at the chef cooking, steak is not ready, and you're like, oh, it's not ready.
Yeah.
It is not ready.
Yeah. Of course, yeah. Like, of course,
It is just not ready. The
Yeah.
ingredients are there, but the steak is not cooked.
Yeah, we will tell
Let us
you when
work.
it's ready to go. So I think as a contractor listening, or as somebody who wants to get into this, is like, hey, I think I could do this. I'm pretty handy, to help them out. Like, what are those early warning signs when you're getting into it that you've experienced? Obviously, we have the 3 or 4 different types that we've talked about, but generally, you have a pretty good idea getting into a project that, this might be a little tough.
Yeah, I must say that it comes with a lot of experience. You gotta get burnt a couple of times out of situations to get your senses, out and running. At this point, I can give couple red flags that I can notice nowadays after fixing a few difficult clients that are gonna shift me out of taking a specific project. But the first thing I'll say, you must experience that. I mean, you got to be in the industry for a long amount of time. If you're planning to do custom homes, then you will meet a lot of problematic clients. You're getting into their personal spaces, into their wallets. It's usually very heavy. It's their, biggest investment, and it's going to come with a lot of emotions. So the first red flag will be somebody that just cannot control his emotions or her emotions. It's just their, meetings are not going well, slamming doors, fighting, not agreeing on anything. That's the first red flag you should see and look for. You know, I mean, the first thing you got to be ready. You got to be ready and cushioned to have couple nightmare clients. Let's start with that. Let's start from whatever I'm going to say right now. I'm not going to help you get away with a nightmare client. Yeah. You got to be there. You got to survive the first 5 or 10 years of, if your existence as a general contractor, to know who is a nightmare client. Mm-hmm. So start with that. I think that's really important.
Yeah.
Don't look for a shortcut.
Yeah. Don't expect that everything is going to be fine and dandy every single time.
Because you're hungry sometimes. Yeah. You want to get a job. You're saying it doesn't matter. They're paying me $100,000 right now. I will ignore everything I see to get this job to feed my family. And you gotta be enough time in the industry to have the leverage to say no, and that comes with time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think on my end, the things I've seen that have turned into later on, not necessarily nightmares, but when there's 2 homeowners, right? Uh-huh. And whether it's the 2 spouses or there's 2 partners, whatever happens to be, one is super active in the beginning, all over it, saying this is what we want. The other one is just like, yeah, whatever. It's fine. I don't care.
Yeah.
Almost every time construction starts. And
then the other party is just not getting it.
Huh? And they come in and they're just like, what is going on? This is not what we discussed. This is not what I wanted. Blah, blah, blah. And it's, I think, it's just the absentee partner who should be there. They just don't want to do it. And then we get to the point where we're ready. And they're usually just jumping in and just confused. It's general confusion. I think it brings in confusion in a lot of ways. There's a lot at home that's going on.
But we talked about tougher. With your wife.
Yeah, no, exactly. But you can't say, but your wife said this.
No, you cannot say it. It's very inappropriate. But sometimes I'm like, are you kidding me right now? Yeah. Are we actually back to square one, trying to figure those basics?
Yeah.
It's a good one actually. Remember this, no names, right? But our very unpleasant meeting at the office recently with a client that went like a really long way, but the partner was not involved with a lot of the communication. And he was so shocked by a lot of things that to be properly communicated, right? Mm-hmm. But as we look on our clients, we look at them as 1 is 2, 2 is 2.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. No, absolutely. I think if you're going to try to look for something that could be a red flag, I think that's one for sure, is just get everybody on the same page early. And even if the one partner is saying, oh, no, they don't mind, they don't care, they're going to care. They're going to live there. Yeah. They have things they want. They just don't understand. And you're probably more involved in thinking about it. And you're listening to us. We're talking you through the different things that are going to happen. And then they might just be like, I didn't know there was going to be a portable toilet on my house. This is disgusting. This is ugly. And that might freak them out. You never know what it's going to be, but It's always something.
It's almost like the ones that are easy on the process or too hard on the process are a nightmare clients. You want to have the average.
Yeah.
Even on your contract, like if they're going over your contract and like picking up on every little thing, a nightmare. But if they're not reading through it and they're signing $1 million contract with you without checking it out, that's even a bigger red flag.
Yeah.
Because they don't know. So you must tell them.
Yeah. Because, as soon as there's any change from that number, then they really start to dissect everything and say, well, I didn't know about this. It's not right. I should have known this. And it's like, well, we tried our best to tell you. Mm-hmm. But it's like you can't just gloss over these things in the beginning. So, if you are another contractor who's going to be getting into this, just be as thorough and detailed and open and just repeat the things that are going to possibly cause problems later. I think that's your best way to diagnose that and address it. But
and also if you're worried about like losing the job by being extremely detailed, therefore being extremely expensive, offer your clients the option to review their other bids or contracts. I think they will appreciate that. Review that with them and tell them they're just missing, 10 or 15 items. Go back to them, get the full number together, come back to me because that doesn't make sense. I think a lot of people will appreciate that, and they will put you back in the game of winning,
Yeah.
such clients without scaring them off by you being too thorough. Like, that's the only way to go. You're always got to push yourself to be as detailed as possible, as transparent as possible. That will just save you nightmare clients.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree. And I think it's trying to get
Stop sign.
that nightmare from becoming a nightmare, because sometimes it doesn't need to. Sometimes you
I
are
agree.
half as at fault for the nightmare as the client is, And I know sometimes as contractors, builders, we'll hear people complain about, oh, well, they're on putting themselves on a pedestal and they're acting as if it's a blessing that I'm working with them. And it's like an incredible thing. But if they're a good contractor and they took the time and took on your project, like, there you get to a point where you've got 6-7 projects going all at once, and you don't necessarily need every single project. It's not that the contractor is sitting there and they're trying to say they're above your work. It's just sometimes it just doesn't make sense for them as a team,
Right.
or they're gonna incorporate it in their schedule, but it's not gonna be a project they can be at every single day, 24/7. And setting that expectation. If you're a new contractor and you're good, you're going to get busy and you're going to have a lot of projects, and you really got to make sure they understand that, yes, I care about your project. It is the most important thing to me, but so are the 5-6 other projects I have. They're also the most important thing to me at the same time. And so I need to service them all the same. I know you want your project to be every single day, every single sub comes in immediately after each other and is so efficient, organized that you finish the project in
Coming
like
back
2
to
months.
communication, right? Because
Right.
it cannot happen.
It's
We all
impossible.
agree.
Yeah.
We all agree that we'll have gaps. We'll have
Yeah.
people missing a day here, a day there. But if you do communicate that, even put it on your contract if you're brave enough, right? But if you feel like it, communicate that again and again and again. Tell them if you see like a client, try to understand your client. If your client is the one that cares about the site being clean, then explain the site won't be clean every single day, but we do have processes. We will place trailers outside. We'll make sure all subs are cleaning after themselves as good as possible. And if the other client is more about timeline, then you should tell them it will never ever be 100% occupancy on your project. However, I'll do my absolute best to get to a point that it's pretty goddamn close
Yeah. Yeah.
to a full occupied schedule.
Yeah. And again, this all comes down to like, who do you want to be as the contractor, right? Do you want to be known as the good contractor using good subs who everybody is busy, right? Because you are using the best guys. You might be more expensive, but it's going to be done right, and it's going to be done clean, and you're not going to have all this back and forth of, oh, he made a mistake. Oh, he has to do this again. Like, if you want to be that contractor, you do have to talk to the client that, like, yeah, all my guys are really good, so they are really busy. So, like, I couldn't be on this every single day, but they will be here tomorrow, And I think just mitigating it, because if not, when you do have that nightmare situation of the client who says, no, this is how I would run the schedule, because a lot of people want to put themselves in the contractor's shoe and say, well, no, I know who should be here, so this is how you should do it, because this is what I would do because my project's the most important. And that's like,
So it comes to like time and money, right, Nate?
Yeah.
Like, that's what we're saying. So money, you're scoping it as good as possible, and you're reviewing what can go wrong. You also have options to review even what can go wrong by opening more walls, but sometimes they leave there. Sometimes it's not working that way. But as long as you communicate that and you're balding it, as hard as possible, once I open a wall, I'm going to find A, B, C, D, E, and that. These are, such items can turn your project to meet a different budget. Or, so that's for the money part. So you're going very thoroughly on your over your contract. You make sure you made sure everything is clear. But then the time, I got a punchline, always works. I'll give you these, as long as the design will stay in place and no changes will be made along the way, then the duration of the project will stay. I mean, from day 1 to day 300, I'll do whatever I want. Okay, but I'll be done with your project at day 300 or pretty close to day 300. A couple of days or a couple of days later. But in between, don't try and hold me accountable for every little thing, because sometimes I'll prefer to do something else, or I'll do whatever is best for the house. And maybe going to be a different subs come after a different sub, then it's not really on the Gantt chart right now. So look at the thing as a whole, because that's what you care about, right? You're paying a second mortgage, or you're renting out, or whatever it is right now for you. That's a pretty good guarantee and a good one to say.
Yeah. Yeah. I think if I was going to say there's any other outside of the lawsuit happy client, sometimes you're just going to run into it and they will be the nicest person to you until probably 3/4 of the project. Once it gets to that point, suddenly you'll start to get a lot more, not emails that sound like legalese, but you can tell they're setting themselves up to find little holes in the project and what you've said and what you've done, and they're trying to trap you. And there's a lot of entrapment that'll happen that you'll see. You'll be like, whoa, wait a second. I feel like something's off. And if you start to feel immediately like anything seems like that's unusual, that's not a normal communication I'd have with a client, or they're bringing in another person involved who you've never talked to and never met, or
try and step out at this point. Like, I mean,
well, yeah.
We're always saying that construction is like big loops. You start something, it takes years to finish. If after a month you're seeing all the red flags in the world, save yourself the time and open your doors for a new, better client. Discuss your attorney, of course. Like, please comply with code, comply with whatever you got to do. So if you leave the project because things are not working out, then you are protected.
Yeah.
Work by the book here. But on top of it, if you are working by the book and just it's a personality issue that you cannot work out, step out.
Yeah.
Step out early. Money will come from a different place.
Yeah.
And on a bigger pile.
Yeah. I think that's also a red flag in itself. If you meet with somebody and you just know you don't like them or they don't like you, don't work with them.
Don't work with them. No jerks.
I think that happens all the time where people are like, oh, this guy's crummy or whatever, but it's a big project. I need it. I'm going to make so much money. But like, it's not worth your time.
I agree.
It just never is. Never is. So getting through like, these are the projects and the things that could come up. How do you actually protect yourself outside of having just a bulletproof contract, right? Which your state contract is going to guide you in everything you should have. And then you should always, and we always recommend, and we work with our own attorney, have an attorney review your contracts, whether it's design work, whether it's just a really simple handyman contract. Like if you're protected legally on your end, and you're making sure that all of your subcontractors have insurance, all of them are have their own workers' comp, all the other things that you might need in your state or your area. Like as long as you're running a clean system and your subs are running a clean system, like that's about all you can ask for.
You want the control, right?
Yeah.
Nate, I think you're saying have the control. Don't let anyone hold you to a situation you don't want to be part of because you made so many legal mistakes along the way. And then if things will go south, you're gonna lose your business. You're gonna lose your company.
Yeah.
Do everything right, and then if something comes and it's a red flag and it's not working out, you have all the good reasons to say bye without getting into a big trouble. Mm-hmm. Or they will change their ways. In different words, what I'm trying to say, you won't have the control. Mm-hmm. Use good attorneys and involve them early. Don't think you know. Don't use the chat. Do not. Just give them a call. Pay the retainer. Keep an attorney on a retainer that from day one. Okay, Get a good attorney. Put him on a retainer and tell him as long as you're alive and I'm alive, the retainer is staying.
Yeah,
I think here's a real valuable piece of advice.
Yeah,
get an attorney on a retainer. Never ask the retainer back if he's good. Just keep it open. You'll need them a couple of times a year, guaranteed.
Yeah. I think this is also in the legal side something that we've learned. Collecting payments can be a nightmare.
Oh yeah.
All the time. It's almost every time collecting payments, just because everyone gets invoice fatigue. They're like, oh, I'm tired of paying this, or I'm frustrated about these things, or whatever's going on. I just want to be back in my house. I got to pay this guy more money. I get it. But sometimes it's beyond that, and sometimes it's I'm just withholding money to withhold money. And either I don't have the money and I lied about it, I'm going to try to negotiate things out after, or I just don't want to pay this guy because I don't have to, and I think I'm going to beat him in court for some reason, So you run into both. We've kind of moved to, we review our invoices every single week,
right,
and we try to limit down to 2 weeks behind, sometimes even lower than that, for making sure invoices get paid so we can catch it and we don't find ourselves working or our subs working, which is even worse, on projects, and then we don't get paid, no one's getting paid, and we're stuck. So like, I don't know if there's a way to know that up front, because there's not really, you're not looking at the finances.
I mean, you got to be prepared for some, you have to be liquid to some level that you can keep on managing your projects, other projects, while missing payments sometimes. I think the law protects you and the clients, but always the clients a little more.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know, if you're seeing something like that, that's like the biggest red flag. Cash is the blood of your operations. Without cash, you're done. You're dying. Then that's not even a red flag. That's like a big legal issue that you want to stay out of. And you can explain your clients. I mean, a conversation you're having with your clients, and that's again a matter of communication early on. You know, transparency and stuff. Hey, I am billing once a month. For example, that's just an example. I'm billing once a month, or I'm billing you every week. I'm trying to pay my subs every week. If you're not paying me every week, these subs are still getting paid, and I'm running negative. I let's get on a habit that you're paying me, you know, within this amount of time. It doesn't matter what the contract is saying. Let's try and keep track of a healthy financial relationship, because it will help me run your projects faster. It will keep the subs happier, you know. And I always like retain some money to the end for finishes. Like, I mean, our contracts we got a heavy amount usually at the end for final inspection, finishes, and stuff like that. You can hold money there if I'm not done with our projects, you know, if I'm not done with the project. But along the way, to the 90%, pay.
Yeah.
And then less 10, less 5, we can talk about what is going on. No discounts or anything, but you're going to make sure I'm completing the projects upon my contract, and I will as well.
Yeah.
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 That's financial.
On the financial side. Yeah. And also, I think there's also, don't be a nightmare contractor.
Correct.
There all these things that the clients can do. You as the contractor can do the same thing and just be a terror to work with. And one of them on billing, for example, nothing is worse on our end than someone coming in 2 months later and saying, oh, I've got 10 different bills from projects that I never invoiced you for, and I'm giving to you all at the same time.
It happened
and
yesterday.
You've got 90K that you owe me right now. And as the contractor, if you're not looking at your books, you can see these things coming, but sometimes you don't know when it's going to come, and you're like, well, we just made a bunch of big payments, and now this guy's asking for another 90,000. You're like, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
So
I think you should be organized, and you should know where you're standing, but you should not perform above contract unless you have a signed change order that will keep you from all the financial issues. Like if you're selling a contract, you have 6 can lights. The client wants 2 more. Before you install the 2 more, I know it is annoying, but you got to develop this habit, because 2 can lights can be also 40 grand of framing. It doesn't matter what it is. Get them to know why you're charging them, where in your contract is not showing as part of the contract. Send them a change order and make sure they sign it quickly. Just make it part of your billing system. Everything we're talking about right now is our system. It's what we have developed.
Yeah, it's what we've seen and why we've created that system, because we've seen all of these things.
We do not like to charge
stuff.
anyone after the fact. I'm not trying to sell our company. I'm just trying to say, how can we leave the industry in a better shape? There's nothing I hate more than a sub coming in 3 months later. Hey, remember this project? I did more than I was anticipating. Pay me. Like, I am not paying you.
Yeah.
Are you crazy?
Yeah.
Where do you want me to bring that money from? This project is graved somewhere, in our books, and it's done.
Yeah.
I mean, no.
Yeah. No, that's the hardest part. And even the same thing you do to your clients. If your client asks for something, tell them it costs more money. If it's not in your scope, make sure they know it's not in the scope. It's going to cost more. And that's okay. And if they scoff and don't want to do it because they are that nightmare client, okay, then don't do it. Don't add it. Just say, sorry, you guys can work on it later. That's okay. But don't be afraid. I think to do that, you're going to be in a much better place. You'll be able to finish projects. God, the amount of projects we get into that contractors have dropped halfway through because the client wasn't even the problem. It was the contractor just not being organized.
Right.
Yeah. So I think those are the things that are important. I think there's a lot of positives that you run into with clients. You get tons of people that come in and work with us that they're just both so sweet. Both, not even meeting yesterday, fantastic.
Right.
Both of them really engaged. And this is everything. This is now 6-7 months into design. Still fully engaged, fully talking, communicating about what they want, don't want, working with their other landscape portion going on, and making sure we're all on the same page. Those are great. That's best case scenario clients, and
we had a ton of them. Like lucky
Yeah.
us, speaking for Soho, we have more happy clients than unhappy clients. The ratio is just in our favor, and we were hoping to keep it that way. I guess I think your clients from the meeting yesterday was just clients understanding the process. They were like walking it slowly. You're building it step by step, and like every good machine, it is starting from a good plans and engineering, and then to the parts and pieces, their costs, the options. What kind of seats do you want to have in your car? What kind of steering wheel? Like what kind of audio system you want to have?
Yeah.
We are building it for you, but you gotta be part of that process to drive that freaking car.
Yeah.
That's yours.
Yeah.
So if they're walking the walk with you and it's fun, it's gonna be a good project. You just know it.
Yeah. It feels right. I think that's what you need to look for. Everything that we saw that was a nightmare situation, something that you can anticipate. The opposite of that, like look for those people and hold on to them, be nice to them, give them extra, like spend time with them, because that's who you want them to refer.
Focus your energy on the right place. That's another really good advice, Nate. Like a big one. After first one, you gotta have reputation, time in business to understand nightmare clients, just out of experience. Second thing is like spend your energy right. You have 10 clients who are trying to sell a project for like 2. Don't spend your energy. Don't divide your energy by 10.
Yeah.
Make sure you step back, you look at the clients, you look at their personality, the value of the sale, and make a decision where your energy is, directed to, and be all out there.
Yeah.
Be hard.
Yeah. You're still going to finish the nightmare one on time and be a good company. Sure. Don't drop that.
No, I mean, in terms of selling.
In terms of your personal relationship that you're trying to build with somebody, because again, we want to build one person's home. We want to build every single one of their friends' home after forever. That's the goal.
I agree.
Is you find that good person and you do whatever you can to say, okay, I'm retaining this relationship because it went so well. If you're a great person to me, you're probably a great person to other people, and other people a great person to you. So you're probably going to have a lot of good relationships and clients that we could work with throughout. So that's going to do it for our Nightmare Client segment, and we are going to move directly into something that we're calling the Build It or Bag It.